Now we're going to learn the simple interrupted suture, which is the pattern that is used for most laceration types. We're going to start by grabbing our suture holders. That's different than this curved hemostats. The curved hemostats have straight grips, which do not hold the sutures as well as the checkered grips, which are found on the suture holders. So we'll put our curved hemostats away. Then we're going to select our sutures. The nylon monofilaments are better at bacterial resistance, but the silk braided is easier to manipulate, and so it's a little bit easier to learn and get started with. So we'll go ahead and open that up. Okay, once we have our suture out, we're going to grab it with our needle holder. So when we grab the needle, we don't want to grab it at the very back because that part is circular and will allow the needle to rotate left and right. Instead, we want to grab it a few millimeters away from the end where it's more triangular and it has that straight edge to prevent it from going left and right. Once we're in there, we're going to squeeze it and click it and lock it in place. Okay, we're going to work on this center laceration. So let's grab our tissue forceps with our left hand and grab one of the edges, and we're going to make our first bite. So we don't want to be all the way out here because that's a little too far and we won't be able to approximate the edges. And we also don't want to be too close like this because that's going to allow the tissues to tear. So right here is about perfect. It's about 3 millimeters away from the edge. And so we'll rotate it through and pull it out. And we're going to leave about 2 inches of slack on the end for our tie. And we'll grab it to go through the other side of the laceration. And once again, this is more of a rotation motion to get it through the skin. Okay, so now we're going to work on tying it. So pull it all the way through, get the slack out. With the thread in your left hand, place your instrument on top of the thread, do 2 loops for the first one, grab the end of the thread and pull it through to make our first tie. And you want to pull it just tight enough so that the 2 edges perfectly approximate each other. Then we're going to do a single loop, grab the edge, pull it through, and then to make it extra secure, we'll do another loop, grab it, and pull it through. At this point, I like to squeeze, click it in place to keep that grabbed, and that just makes it easier when you're cutting away that last piece of thread. Okay, so now we're going to work on placing our second knot. So we'll grab our tissue forceps and our needle holder. In terms of positioning, I like to be slightly less than a centimeter away from our last, so right about here. Now remember, last time we came up through the center, we released, and then we repositioned. This time we're going to go straight through both sides, and this is something you'll do most of the time as long as you have good visibility. If it's bleeding a lot or you're having trouble approximating the 2 edges, you'll have to break it up into 2 stages like we did with the first one. So once again, we'll do 2 loops for our first tie, grab it, pull it through, get the tissues well approximated, and then a single loop for our second tie. And then for our third tie, I like to grab it and click it and pull it through, and we'll go ahead and cut it. Now, the beauty of the simple interrupted suture is you can place as many as you need to get the job done. For a laceration like this, I'd probably place 4 sutures, probably 1 here and 1 here. But for these larger lacerations, you can do as many as you need, even 10 to 15. Now, the simple interrupted suture is going to be the only suturing pattern you need for most situations. But if you're a healthcare professional or going into a surgery residency, then I do recommend watching the Duke Suturing Skills video with Dr. Zen. It's an excellent video. It's done on cadavers, which is why the skin looks the way it does. But it's one of the best videos out there, and I highly recommend it if you're looking for more advanced suturing skills.